Today I decided to do a part two of the original video that I recorded earlier. How to master your empathy. Oh, hello people. This is Tom and this is the INFJ experience. And yes, I had a discussion about how to master your empathy. Empathy has to be honed in. I'm going to outline a few points here. Well, first of all, I had touched on a few examples before, a few things about how we have to get control over our own mind and our own thoughts, our own emotions first before we can even tackle those emotions or outside emotions. So a lot of it has to do with learning about ourselves and our own, mastering our own internal selves. That's the key. But of course, as we hone these skills in, I had touched on a few bases about how basically if your mind is clear, using your empathy, as we know what empathy is. We pick up emotions. We go into situations, we go into rooms, we go into areas where there are people around, and there's jumbles of emotions. And a lot of times we are picking them up, we are absorbing them, and and if we don't know they're ours, then they confuse us because we start feeling emotions, and if we don't realize that they have nothing to do with us, absorb them, and then they pretty much just kind of wreck our day. They just wreck things a little bit if we have no control over this. So that's why we want to do this, okay? And I talked about the wave of the outer emotion, those real negative, dark ones, those really alarming ones that kind of pass through you like a ghost. I touched on that in part one as well. And also, talked about developing our skills, as far as that goes. It takes a lifetime of developing. So one thing I got down here is things that are out of character. Now, this is another indication of how you can decipher your emotions from somebody else's, okay? Let's say you've practiced, you've cleared your mind, you've got good control of your mind. You don't have a jump anxiety of angst and things like that. You got a relatively good mind, all right? Now, you detect an emotion. I always say detect because I'm not going to say absorb, but let's say, okay, you feel an emotion. And if it is out of your character, if it's a thought or an emotion that you've never felt before, just something that you never experienced before, that just kind of came in, unexpected, chances are that's a detected emotion. Because if it's out of character, if it's just something, if it's a type of emotion, if it's an extreme hateful emotion, or an extreme jealousy, something that you are not characteristic of. And you know your character. And if you don't have these thoughts, you should know what your heart is. You know who you are inside, and you know what emotions are going to trigger you, or you're going to feel. You should know this about yourself. So if things are out of character, chances are you are detecting that emotion. All right? Detecting an emotion and not absorbing an emotion. You got to get to the point where you are feeling them, you are aware of them, you know they're happening, but you're not absorbing them, okay? So a lot of you people may learn these things, these skills faster than you'd imagine. They might just come natural to you because that's what you were meant to do. It is who you were supposed to be. So don't think this is intimidating. You're thinking, oh, I got all this time and it's going to take me a lifetime. This may come quick to you people. So just bear that in mind. So being aware of who you are, what you have as a gift with your empathy, you should be able to be aware enough to detect these emotions without absorbing them, without them just getting in you and just messing with you because you're aware of them to begin with. Okay, so number 3, I wrote down here, your most important emotion to conquer is fear. There you go, people. We can wrestle with a lot of emotions and deal with them. Okay, we can put a lot of things out of our head. But fear is one of those because we live in a world that can be unpredictable, especially this day and age. There's a lot of things. You hear a lot of things on the news. There's a lot of unstable people in the world right now. And so fear, and so being fearful can be probably one of the most hardest one to conquer. But after all, fear is your most important one. It's actually the most, it's probably the most difficult one to conquer because just the way the world is. But if you can conquer your fears, people, if somehow you can find a way to hone in where you're no longer fearful, where you've somehow elevated yourself into maybe your sigma. I think this is when you elevate to the sigma level. This is very important. When you find that level, maybe you find that awakening, fear goes away as well. You become almost like another step. You rise into that other stage where you're above. You're the sigma. Another one I got down here: let your empathy project outward and influence positivity. Okay, I wrote that down. Your empathy doesn't have to just detect, doesn't have to just pick up, doesn't have to absorb. Your empathy, and as you are, can actually, if depending on your emotion, you have a way of projecting it out. These are things that you have to learn over time. It takes a little bit of psychology. It just takes a little bit of interaction with people you're around. I mean, you might come in contact with people that look like they're bothered, or they're just in their own world and they're kind of doing their thing. But by projecting a little bit of positivity with these people, just like, saying, like, having a smile and saying, "How are you? How you doing?" Just little things like that actually brighten people up. Now, I don't know if it's your empathy's doing that, but it's just a way of having a positive influence where you take people that are down around you and you could tell that they're bothered, and just that little bit of positivity. I mean, you don't have to overdo it or anything, but just enough to where you can change the mood. You can change the tempo of what you have around you. A lot of that's our FE. We have the FE. We are empaths, and we have the extroverted feeling, and that we're almost a master at. That's what we do. We're just able to kind of change the tempo or the mood a little bit, put people at ease. That's what we can do, and this can work along with our empathy in order just to change the tempo. All right. So you be the positive influence out there. And down, empathy equals intuition, understanding the differences. Well, it's pretty much that. What is empathy, and what is your intuition? Well, I mean, your empathy is detecting emotion. It's the emotion. It's the feeling of them. It's honing them in. It's the one that absorbs. And intuition is the long-term projector. So in a way, but intuition also is something that will protect us as well. Working with your intuition in conjunction with your empathy could be one of your greatest gifts. If you can hone in your empathy and your intuition, now you have that. You have that level of you're detecting emotions. Okay, you're detecting them, and of course now here you can kind of just understand, like connect patterns, connect situations, know what the future outcome is going to be, depending on how these emotions go. Just knowing that maybe you're going to try to diffuse a situation or just keep things rolling in a certain way, or just knowing how to deal with people in the moment, depending on how their emotions you're detecting them on. All right? Just things like that. It shouldn't be that complicated, people. For the most part, we live in this world day by day. For the most part, we know where we are, and we just know that some things out of the ordinary can happen. Of course, that does happen. Things out of the ordinary will take over at some points in our lives. But a lot of times we're surrounded by halfway decent people. So we are. Occasionally, we can't guarantee that. And a lot of times we hear things on the news, and they like to over-dramatize some things too. They love to put the dirty laundry out there. Remember that old song by Don Henley, Dirty Laundry? Yeah, they love to broadcast that. Yes, the world, it's dark moments, and there are some dark people, but you'd think it's more rampant than it is just because of the way we hear news. So as long as you are in a certain area that you're familiar with, and you have a routine going, for the most part, pretty well protected. And as long as your empathy is working well and your intuition is working well, it should keep you out of certain situations. Yeah, that's all. That's all. We shouldn't have to be looking over our shoulder our whole lives either. But mainly, the whole fundamental point of gaining control of our empathy isn't so much how we see other people around us. It's so we ourselves have control of our empathy. So again, people, like I said in the first video, we absorb these emotions, and if we are oblivious to our empathy, if we don't know we have this empathy, then it's only going to torture us. It's only going to keep having us absorb them, not knowing where these emotions are coming from. We think they're ours. We get them jumbled. They start circulating in us, and we think it's ruined our day. We think they're ours. These thoughts are coming into our mind. It confused us. Now it just set us into a tailspin. It'll just get us thinking, why did I feel this? And it will ruin our day. So this is why I'm saying this, people. It's not for what the outside world is. Honing in these empathies and understanding it is for your sake, people. It's for you to live a better life, a better experience of the INFJ, okay? It is for your sake, and that's why I'm putting this video out. It's so you can gather that, all right? They're secondary. The world is secondary. You are first, and this is the most important thing. And like I said, it's your gift. It's something that you need to learn to hone in, and these are some skills. And these next two videos on learning this, these are some skills that you could take in order to fine-tune your empathy and master and be ultimately the master of empathy. Well, anyway, people, I just want to thank you. Now, this was that part 2 of the series. Like I said, at the end of this video, I'm going to put the link for the first one, or at least put the video for the first one, and I encourage you to watch that too. If you could watch that first and then watch this one, I guess it doesn't matter, but this is part 2 to that one. All right. So, people, I hope you enjoyed this part 2 segment. All right, and so, like I said, this is this is our channel. This is all our channel. Let's keep this channel growing. All right. And this is our safe haven, all right? So, yeah, subscribe to my channel and give me some thumbs up and leave some comments too, all right? Tell me if you like this kind of material here. I don't think you're hearing this too many other places. Have you ever heard anybody else talk this? I don't know. I never did. Well, anyway, people, thank you so much for attending again. And as I say, what do I say? Have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay? Well, thank you again.